Hello! This is going to be an extremely niche video. It's a very small topic that probably not a lot of people are gonna care about. So why am I making it? Because I want to. I'm in college now. I'm halfway through my first year, and now that I'm taking classes with about 100 other people, it really makes me miss my high school classes, which is a very weird thing to say because high school, yikes. And it's not even really the classes, it's more that now that I cannot connect with my teachers on a personal level because there are just so many other people in the classes, I miss being in a small class and I miss my high school teachers. There are a few that really just went above and beyond for me personally and for other students, and I just want to take a minute and talk about them because I miss them and I miss being able to connect on that kind of level. My freshman year modern world history teacher was great. I don't remember a lot of freshman year. I know that I was very strange in that class. Freshman year me didn't really know how to function at all, like period. I don't know, I know that I probably wasn't a lot of fun to have in class. I know that combined with every other kid who in freshman year doesn't care about history, especially first period, you know, getting in that class at 7:55 in the morning, no one wants to be there. And then, you know, I was there just being an asshole to everyone. But this teacher, he was great. He really cared about us and about teaching us what happened in the world and just making sure we understood what happened and why and like the reasoning behind every shitty thing that's ever happened in the past 400 years so that we would know how to not do that. You know, freshman year, I didn't really appreciate him because I didn't know how to function. I was just barely getting through school. My senior year of high school, I got a concussion over the summer, just before school started, the beginning of August. And this was my second concussion in my high school career. I had one sophomore year as well. And it took me out of marching band for a good, you know, month or so. And I remember I was sitting on, like, I was sitting out in front of the school waiting for my mom to come pick me up because I wasn't allowed to drive. And my teacher came walking out to go home and he was like, aren't you going to band? What are you doing out here? And I was like, oh, no, I have a concussion, I can't go. And he was like, why are you at school? What do you, like, if you have a concussion, shouldn't you be at home? And I was like, well, yeah, with the last concussion, we figured out that me staying home all the time really wasn't good. Like, it was bad for my mental health, it was bad for my grades, everything. And he was like, what do you mean the first concussion? And I was like, yeah, I had one sophomore year too. And he was like, what? Why? What happened? And I was like, I'm just not very spatially aware. But he was very concerned about me, and he emailed me later that night. And he was like, listen, I know how hard it can be to be the only one left out of something, and it is to sit on the sideline and watch all your friends have fun doing something that you love to do. And, you know, if you ever need anything, if you need to, like, get away from, you know, the craziness of the lunchroom or something, or you need a break from your classes, you are completely welcome to come to my classroom anytime. You can ask me for anything. Just let me know however I can help you. And that really touched me. This was a teacher that I hadn't spoken to in about 3 years. And I just mentioned that I was having a rough go of it, and he was ready to drop everything to help me. A couple days later, he showed up by my math classroom. I don't know how he knew which room I had math in, but he was over there, and he gave me a pair of sunglasses, because I mentioned that the brightness being outside in August hurt my head, and I couldn't, you know, be out in the sun for very long, and he just gave me a pair of sunglasses, and I still have them, one of my favorite pairs of sunglasses, and it was really nice. It was really nice to know that he still cared about me, and he came to my graduation party over the summer, and he gave me a copy of the book that every Friday he would read us a story out of. This is the book, Lucky Every Day. It's 20 unforgettable lessons from a coach who made a difference. And it was, every day he read us a chapter every Friday, and he would say, over the weekend, your only homework is to tell someone that you love them. And that has stuck with me throughout, for the past 4 years. I always think about it, and I read a story out of this book every Friday, and I just remember how lucky I am to have so many people in my life that care about me. The next teacher I want to talk about is my Global Gourmet teacher in sophomore year. Global Gourmet was kind of our version of home ec, I guess. It was a cooking class. We just did a lot of things, and it was just basic life skills, you know. It was just cooking and cleaning and food safety, and just here's how to use all of these kitchen appliances and the tools, and, you know, meal prep is really important. And the class itself was great. I had a fantastic time. I took it with one of my friends, and the running joke the entire time was that I was either going to burn down the school or set myself on fire somehow. Neither happened. I had a great time in the class, and again, the teacher just made sure that everyone in her class knew that she cared about them, and that she was invested in their futures, and that she wanted them to be good, just good once they left their parents' house and they moved out on their own, and they would be prepared to take care of themselves. She was such a nice woman. She was in the military before she was a teacher at my school, so she was very dedicated to doing things the right way and making sure that you were prepared for everything, and she really cared. She really showed you that you cared, and if you were having trouble making something, she didn't hold it against you. You could go up to her and you'd say, I really don't understand how to do this part, can you help? Or I couldn't, you know, this happened, but I did it wrong, how can I fix it? And she would always be able to help you, and it was just really, really nice to be in that sort of environment where someone is telling you how much they want you to be healthy later in life and to be able to take care of yourself and not have to go out for fast food every day in order to have dinner. So she was another one of my favorite teachers. Loved her. Junior year, I took AP American Government and Politics, and another history teacher who was just fantastic. In the beginning of the year, he had us all fill out like a little survey to get to know us, and at the end it was like, how can I make this year good for you? Like what would be best for you in my classroom? And I was like, please. It was really weird because even in junior year I didn't know how to function still. I put on it, I was like, you seem like a very friendly person, and that's great, but please don't try to be friends with me. And I was like, please don't touch me, please don't, like, you know, tap me on the shoulder or anything. I don't want that to happen. You know, don't just randomly call on me. If I want to participate, you'll know. And it was basically just don't interact with me, is what I told him. I was like, I don't want to be here. And he was perfectly good with that. Like, the only time he ever, like, really talked to me was he always stood outside his door and gave everyone a fist bump as they walked in, and he said hello to everyone by name, and that was great. That was fine. I talked to him then, and if I ever had trouble with something, I could go to him and I was like, okay, can you explain this to me, or I don't understand what this means, and he was always more than happy to help. And he never called me out. And he always made sure that everyone was in his classroom because they wanted to be there. I knew that if I was having a rough day and I just needed a break, I could go in, I could sit down, I could put my headphones on and just work on my work, and he wouldn't give me any sort of crap for it. And because he respected me so much my junior year, I actually came back to his classroom senior year, because I dropped one of my classes a couple weeks in, just because I didn't need the credit, and it was not going well for me with the concussion. I'd only been there a couple times in a few weeks, and I was like, you know what? It's gonna be better for everyone if I don't take this class. Like, my grades are gonna suffer. I don't need it. And so I went back into his classroom and I was like, can I, peer collab for you? Can I be your teaching assistant? And he was like, really? You want to do this? And I was like, yes, 100%. Your class was one of my favorites last year. And he was like, I thought you hated me. And I was like, no, I loved you. I just didn't want to talk to you. And he was astonished, and he was like, well, that's great. Yes, absolutely. You're a great student. You're great, in the class. You always got your stuff done, please. And I had a great year with him. My senior year, I had a great time. I knew that, again, I could always go into his classroom, I could put on my headphones, and I could do my work. And if I wanted to talk to him about something, then he would be more than willing to listen. But he was always just there. Even if I didn't want to talk to him, he would be there. And I knew that he would be there. And it was just incredible to know, to have that support. And it was just that kind of connection. Again, he had it with so many of his students, and so many people loved him. And it was just, he loved them. He made it clear that no matter what, he was going to be there for his kids. And in his classroom, everyone mattered. Another teacher that I had my junior year and then went back to as a teaching assistant in my senior year was my AP Environmental Science teacher. I had so much fun in his class junior year. He was such a crazy guy, and he would always tell us stories, and every story he told us would start off with, I probably shouldn't be telling you guys this. And that's how I knew it was going to be a really good story. He also had a really large aquaponics system in the back room of his class, and if you don't know what aquaponics is, it is a method of growing plants where the roots are submerged in water, and then there are also fish. Hydroponics is just plants directly in water. Aquaponics is adding fish into the equation. So he had that massive system in the back that he had his students work on. I'm not sure if he had us work on it because he genuinely needed help with it, or it was the long game of getting us to understand how everything is connected, and in order to monitor the world and make sure it's taken care of, you have to monitor every aspect of it and really just understand that everything is connected and it's all just one big circle. That class and my teacher are the reason that I am going into sustainable agriculture and urban horticulture and stuff, because I realized working on the aquaponic system and raising crops and the fish and, donating everything we harvested to the food banks and everything, that's what I wanted to do with my life. Up until then, I thought I wanted to go into business and foreign language, and I'm really glad I didn't. It was just a great class. It was, every time I'd walk into his room and I would just relax because I knew what I was doing, and I knew what I was doing was important. And, he started the year by telling us that it was the most important class that we were ever going to take. And he was so right. I could go on and on about a bunch of the teachers that I've had, and, my band director and my German teacher and my chemistry teacher and on, but really what I'm trying to say with this video is, teachers, do your best to make sure that your students know that you're there for them. High school is such a rough time for so many kids because they're trying so hard to get ready to be adults, but they're so young. It's 14-year-olds trying to figure out how to be people, and they're learning all this stuff that doesn't even matter half the time, depending on what they go into, but it's important that they learn it, and it's important that they go through it in order to come out the other end as a person, as a fully fledged, functional person. So, teachers, at every stage of education, you are important. You lead the future. And it is incredibly important that you make sure your kids can rely on you and that them walking into your classroom is a good experience. So just make sure that you are doing everything in your power to make school a positive experience, because you owe that to yourselves, and you owe it to your kids, and you owe it to every generation afterwards. Today's happy fact is the quokka. Quokka? Quokka? I don't know. Quokka? Quakka? It's a little marsupial that lives, I believe, in New Zealand and Australia. It is always smiling. I'm sure you've seen pictures of it. It looks like a really fat squirrel, kind of. I don't know. Look it up. It'll bring a smile to your face. They're really, really cute, and they're very friendly. Anyone who's been to New Zealand or Australia, or wherever they live, I guarantee has pictures of them feeding a quokka, and it's smiling up at them. But they're always smiling. Their little faces are just adorable. So that's the happy fact for today. Look up a picture of a quokka, or quokka, I don't know. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment telling me about a teacher that changed your life. Also, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel to join me on my quest to make people smile. Until next time, pet a dog, water a plant, have a snack, take your meds, drink some water, and as always, don't forget to smile. Take it easy.